Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today I'm asking the question, how can we see a Mandalorian Battle Force show up in Star Wars Legion? How might AMG do this? There are certainly a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas out there. And with the astounding success of the Mandalorian franchise, it seems like at this point it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. It seems like a foregone conclusion that we will see a Mandalorian Battle Force before too long. There's just too much content out there for them to ignore. There's too much about Mandalorians kind of being the broken back dude who's carrying this entire franchise of Star Wars right now that there's no way that they're going to ignore all the rest of the Mandalorians that we have been seeing in multiple seasons of The Mandalorian. We've got to see more. We've got to see a Mandalorian Battle Force showing them fighting together. It was a common theme throughout so much of the Clone Wars and in Star Wars Rebels and, of course, in The Mandalorian. So when are we going to see a Mandalorian Battle Force and how might they do that? I'm going to talk about a couple of important ideas and important things to consider when talking about this, some ways that they might do it now as well as some other ways that they could come out with it. So the first thing I want to do is talk about all the Mandalorian. We got a lot of Mandalorians already in the game. You might say that we have enough stuff to do one right now. I certainly could get behind that, but there are some pitfalls there. One of those key pitfalls as well. We only have one commander. We only have Gar Saxon, and he doesn't necessarily mesh very well with trying to lead Sabine or Clan Wren. And so, is that how we're going to do it? If we're just going to mush everything together, like that doesn't seem to really work out. There's a lot of mercs in there. There's a lot of other stuff. How would the rules for that work? Granted, there's a lot of content, but at the same time, when we look at all of them, are they different enough to really stand out? Like there are certain common themes, like they'll have red, search for defense, red defense dice. They have, most of them have jump, or at least capable of getting jump. Old Man Boba, not quite being as fast as everybody else, but like you're Din Djarin without his jetpack, not quite as fast as everybody else. But for the most part, Clan Wren or the Mandalorian Resistance and then the Mandalorian Super Commandos are your only generics, and those are awfully similar to each other as well. They're not the same, with notable differences being that the Super Commandos have a range 3 attack, and Clan Wren does not, although Clan Wren does have search to hit built in. It's like there are some differences, but and I'd love to see the Super Commandos and the Resistance potentially work together at some point. I feel like that's something that would probably have to happen in order to make the game, accept a Mandalorian Battle Force at this time. But I think that if we're really going to see them, it has to coincide with the launch of something new to kind of help unite the clans. And I think if we're going to do a Mandalorian Battle Force, it may have to launch along either maybe a new starter or at least something new. I'm going to talk about some ideas for that. Let me do a little bit of admin stuff. I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. You hear me talk about them. There's a big Black Friday sale coming up right now, and normally, so if you're watching this like after the fact, you can always save 15% by heading over to luxuryplaystyle.com and using code CrabbokVIP. That code is going to also get you a Crabbok lightsaber nunchuck coin while supplies last. With orders of $35 or more, you're going to get that. Plus, you're saving 15% by using that code. Amazing Legion tokens here. But Black Friday is usually always bumps up to 20, but this Black Friday for 2023, I had to check my calendar. Yeah, 2023. It's going to save 25% off of Legion, X-Wing, and L5R coins. So if you are ever on the fence, this is the time to get those orders in. Black Friday, this same code is going to jump your savings up mathematically high. You're going to get a 25% savings. They've never done a sale like this before. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Head over there now. Start figuring out what you're going to get for Black Friday. I mean, go all out. This is the big sale, folks. So definitely check them out. Crabbok VIP, don't forget that code. That's going to jump your savings up to 25% for Legion and for X-Wing and L5R. Other tokens, it'll only be 20%, but still, this is this biggest sale of the year. It's Black Friday, folks. This is your time to get those holiday gifts in. Let everybody know. And I know some of you guys like have already gotten them and have been telling me how great how much you love them. I know I use them in all of my games too. They're absolutely amazing. So definitely head over to Luxury Playstyle and check them out. We are also doing Life Day giveaways, 12 days of Life Day on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed and leave a comment. That enters you automatically to win one of the 12 giveaways that are going to be happening during the month of December. So that's just around the corner, so you still got time left. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you want to see out of a Mandalorian Battle Force, or let me know just some of your best Mandalorian thoughts. Who's your favorite Mandalorian? Who do you really want to see on your tabletop gaming, shooting blasters or carrying the Darksaber or doing something else cool? Like, I want to know what your thoughts are. So I said that if we're going to do another Mandalorian Battle Force or a Mandalorian Battle Force, it may have to launch along the side of new products. That sometimes happens. You get some new product that's like, hey, now here's a Battle Force. Like when we got Moff Gideon, you had that Imperial Remnant Battle Force that wasn't only stuff that was released with Moff Gideon, but he kind of spearheaded it, and you would have had a harder time trying to run that without him. And I feel like the same thing would happen here. Now, if we get only one thing to kick off a Mandalorian Battle Force, I feel like it would have to be Bo-Katan. I feel like she is the ultimate character to unite the clans, to bring Mandalore together. And if you're going to use, Mandalorians of different factions that are possibly diametrically opposed, she's the one to bring them all together. She could easily be a dual faction character, so she could run on her own. She could do all kinds of stuff. There's a tremendous amount of stuff, and her popularity is at an all-time high right now. So I feel like, again, while Mandalorian battle forces are probably a foregone conclusion at this point, I feel the same can be said for Bo-Katan. I think she's got to show up in Star Wars Legion. I mean, heck, she's already in Shatterpoint. She's already a fan favorite character. I'm sure they must have her in development at some point, right? And if they're not, and if not, get on that, guys. Of course, she's got to be coming. She's got to be in the pipeline. She is too cool, too awesome not to have in Star Wars Legion. So what if we're not going to get only one character? Who might be a good counterpart? And here's the thing. What if instead of just one Mandalorian Battle Force, we had different Mandalorian Battle Forces? What if we had sort of the Clone Wars era, Republic, loyal to Mandalore versus Death Watch? Yeah, I'm talking about pre-Vizsla. Would be an awesome Mandalorian to add to this game. How cool would it be to have Death Watch as its own battle force? You could have Mandalorians versus Mandalorians. It could really work. It would be very, very cool. It could also be a great way to have some new Battle Force packs, some new little starter entry points for new players that are encouraged by all the Mandalorian stuff going on with Disney Plus and all the new Mandalorian, just the Mandalorian bonanza that's been going on lately. Having like a pre-Vizsla Death Watch box would be awesome, and having a clan, not a clan Ren, but a Bo-Katan box, with the owls, the night owls, would be a really cool box too. That could be its own battle force. That's if they're gonna do two. If not, at least her, she can, because there's two versions of her, or there could be three. There could be like the Republic Battle Force, there could be the Separatist Battle Force, and then there could be, Mandalore United Battle Force, and there's all kinds of really cool, interesting ways that they can do that. But that might be looking a little too far into the future. If they were to release them now, there's some different items, there's some different ways that they can approach that. Now, I want to call your attention to some of the more recent battle forces that we've seen. Look at Bright Tree Village, right? For example, they said, hey, let's give you a new card for an existing unit so you can use something that you already have in a different way. I'm talking about Chewbacca, right? You had Chewbacca in an ATST. It's not the first time they've given us alternate uses for Chewbacca. I feel like Chewbacca is the hardest working Wookiee in all of Star Wars Legion because they just keep saying Chewbacca's now this. Here's a new card for Chewbacca, and so he's got to learn all these different battlefield roles. Poor Chewie is working his butt off. But in that vein, there are plenty of options already in the game now that they could do the same thing with. And I'm talking about some of these different Mandalorian Heavies, these special unique miniatures that only have the little upgrade card. We could easily get a Battle Force that has, because again, battle forces can have their own cards. They can easily make this restricted to the specific battle force. We could get our own Ursa Wren card. She could be another commander. We could get a Tristan Wren card. He could be a commander. He could be an operative. He could be, a special forces all by himself. Like there's a lot of different options there. And talking about Rook Cast, of course, we should have Rook Cast as her own character. She should be a commander or an operative. There's a lot of options there. And they can make these characters, again, if you're doing just one Mandalorian Battle Force, I'd say make Ursa Wren, a commander, make Rook Cast a commander. Now you've got 3 different commander options right away. You've got Ursa Wren, you've got Rook Cast, and of course you have Gar Saxon already, if you want to use his existing version of cards. Now this is in addition to them making alternate versions of existing characters. Like if they want to make an alternate Sabine Wren to reflect the older Sabine that we've seen in Ahsoka. I don't think that they'll do that just yet because I feel like the Ahsoka show might be a great opportunity for them to develop all new content based on the characters and how they appear in that show. So that those might be all new miniatures, might be a whole new set of expansions that come out in a year or two. Who knows? But at least using the miniatures that we already have now, this is a tremendous opportunity of some really cool characters that already have unique sculpts and they already have these cards that you can just say, hey, let's just turn around and turn these guys into their own units. Amazing opportunity to do that, and you could really do that for any of the heavies. You could do the duelist, the Beskad duelist or whatever, and make that into a unique character. There's a lot of other little things like that you could do, but for characters that are already unique, it works out really, really well. Characters are already named and recognizable. It's going to work out really, really well. For Rook Cast is my number 1 on this list to actually see them show up. And now all of a sudden you do this, you don't necessarily have to add extra expansions because there's already enough Mandalorians in game right now. So you combine this with all the other Mandalorians we already have. Maybe do alternate versions of the Mandalorian Resistance. Maybe you do an alternate version of the Super Commandos, and put them. You might be largely the same, but maybe not exactly the same. And then you basically give us new ways to use the miniatures that we already have. That seems like an instant win to me. You do some Battle Force cards, some command cards that are only allowable in that particular Battle Force to kind of give them that the faction identity that they need to make up for some of the weaknesses that Mandalorians might have. A big one is that they have only 1 hit point per unit for the most part for all of those special forces. They don't have core, but you can, as we've seen already, you can easily fix that because of the fact that Battle Force rules and allow them to just, you can ignore the list building requirements and just run with all special forces for this Battle Force. So very, very easy. But there is one other thing that they could consider doing, and that's adding non-Mandalorian characters to a Mandalorian Battle Force. Now, you might be saying, why would you do that? There have been times where non-Mandalorians have fought with Mandalorians. Like if we look at IG-11, of course, he fought with Din Djarin in the Mandalorian, but that's a little bit of a stretch because that was more of a mixed group. He wasn't fighting with like all Mandalorians, but he still he helped in the cause. Of course, you could also allow Grogu, but I think Grogu kind of counts as Mandalorian now anyway. But I expect it as Grogu grows, they'll probably do a whole nother Grogu expansion of like just Grogu. I think they want to capitalize on Grogu for sure. Ahsoka absolutely works to help Mandalorians. Look at the Siege of Mandalore from Clone Wars. That might not happen until we get maybe a Republic version of Ahsoka, but you could still use the current miniature for Ahsoka right now. She has a good relationship with Bo-Katan. She has a relationship with Mandalorians. I'm sure she would work well. I even put Obi-Wan Kenobi on here because I'd love to see an alternate unit card of Obi-Wan Kenobi wearing his, like during his whole Satine arc, him with a like a dude, like Mandalorian, Mando-B-Wan. Does he even have that nickname? I don't know, but I'd love to see Obi-Wan in the Mandalorian armor, just for the artwork for the alternate card, and then people can repaint their Obi-Wans, or the whole community's going to 3D print some stuff to proxy it up, and to have their fun with it, and do all these alternate versions of Obi-Wan. But there definitely are some possibilities. Now, granted, I like the idea of a Mandalorian Battle Force being only Mandalorians, but sometimes, like even if you look at the Wookiee Battle Force, right, there's still some clones that can go in there, but it should never be required that you have to take non-Mandalorians in a Mandalorian Battle Force. But to add in the possibility of, hey, we want to have a little bit of flexibility. Maybe we want some Force users in there, although I don't want to spoil anything, but hey, maybe we go all the way back and get Tar Vizsla once, or something like that. That Mandalorian Jedi of lore. Maybe they'll expand upon that some more in the future. I don't know. I can't wait to see. But it's exciting. It's exciting to think about how we could get a Mandalorian Battle Force. There's definitely a lot of different ways to do that now, but I want to hear some of your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you haven't already, also join our Discord. We have a great family-friendly Discord, and I'd love to keep the discussion going there. Join, come hang out, talk Star Wars tabletop gaming, and talk Mandalorian. We've got a spoilers channel for Disney Plus stuff too, so you can jump in there and talk about your favorite things that have been going on in the world of Star Wars TV and movies and things like that. But I love to talk Mandalorian stuff. Love to talk Star Wars with you guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. So thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. This is the way. The spice must flow, and always wash your socks.